Terra Magical Adept is an interesting card. Now, the abilities on the front side are okay, but the more interesting part is when you flip it. Because when she exiles herself and comes back, she comes back as a saga creature. The first, second, and third chapter ability allows you to copy a non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste, and you put 3 lore counters on it if it's a saga. So if we had Spark Double entering as a non-legendary copy of Terra, well, that Spark Double will now be a legal target for that chapter ability to make another copy of a non-legendary Terra. When that new one enters, you get to do it again, and when that new one enters, you get to do it again, so on and so on. But how are we running the Spark Double when Terra is a red-green card? And Spark Double's identity is clearly blue. Well, it's because of her final chapter ability, which lets you add all this color of mana. And in Commander, one of the things that determine color identity is any mana pips that are in a card's text box, including the back face of a double-face card. So even though Terra Magical Adept looks like a red-green card on the face, on the backside we would also consider any mana pips that are in there. Which means Terra Magical Adept is actually a 5-color color identity. I want to stress that her colors herself is not 5 colors. She's a red-green card still. Her color identity is 5 colors, which is different from colors. Now there's one more thing to talk about with this combo. This effect is not optional. You have to choose a legal target every time that trigger goes on the stack. So if we don't have any other non-legendary enchantments on the battlefield, then the only legal target is going to be the non-legendary Terra. So if we're infinitely looping something over and over again, and if we don't have a way to break that loop, the game's going to end in a draw. Luckily, Terra has 4 chapter abilities. So with the 3 lore counters that you're able to put onto a saga, plus the one that it enters with, we can hit that 4 immediately. Sagas sacrifice themselves if there's enough lore counters on that card equal to its final chapter or more. But if it's the source of any triggers that it put onto the stack, it's going to wait until all those triggers have resolved until it sacrifices itself. But if a player had multiple triggers that would have gone off before it got placed on the stack, that player can order all of those triggers in whatever order they choose. So although technically chapter 1 was the first one to trigger, all of them triggered before anything got put onto the stack. And by the time someone can place something on the stack, they can order the triggers in whatever order they choose. And so what we can do is have chapter 4 be the one to resolve first and have all the other chapters targeting itself. When we try to resolve this first, it will exile itself, but since it's a token, it will cease to exist and not come back. And then these triggers will no longer have a legal target and will all just fizzle, ending this combo.